Good morning and welcome to Morning Moments with my special guest from Atlanta, Georgia, David Craver. He is a recording artist and also involved in a very worthy cause. Welcome, David.
Andy, how are you?
Doing great, doing great. I got connected with David because when I lived in the Atlanta area, I apparently was on this open mic list and I still get his emails. And when I did comedy and some music in Atlanta, and I was so fascinated by his email that talked about Amped Kids Foundation. Music is my therapy. And I asked David to get on the show and tell me about what his cause is and what that's all about.
Andy, I appreciate that. I'm glad that you opened the email. It's amazing. You send an email out to a list, and you don't really think about it, but there's an individual on the other end, and they're analyzing whatever it is you're telling them in their own mind, and sometimes it can end very badly. But sometimes it's when with you, it goes quite well. People send me an email. I don't want a damn shirt. It's like, well, then delete the email. Yeah, what do you want me to do?
So
Apologize?
So these T-shirts that goes to Amped Kids Foundation, right?
Yeah. So I am the president of Amped Kids Foundation, and April Rooks is our founder, and she is the driving force behind the whole thing. She's just wonderful. Um, in my open mic business, April used to host for me. So I would go into a bar and set up a live music open mic. I would hire people, musicians, Tuesday night. These are professional musicians that play on the weekends, and they're like, "Okay, I'll do that." And what they find is it's the best night of the week for them because they go in, they have a meal and a beer, and they make new friends, and they play a little music, and it's just a blast. You've been to open mics; they can be a lot of fun. So April was one of those people, and out of the blue, she just reached out to me and says, "Hey, I've started this Amped Kids Foundation, and what we do is we provide music lessons and instruments to kids in the foster care program." And she started to say, and she goes, I was just wondering if you might want to, I don't know, get involved or whatever. And that was it. I said, yes. And she's like, "Oh, well, I have a lot more of my pitch." I'm like, foster kids, music, lessons, I get it.
Yeah.
It's so, and then I started telling her what it was. I said, so the foster kids, they don't have parents. They're
Yeah.
living with strangers. Sometimes it's not a great situation. And if they can bring music into their life, that might give them something to hold on to and some achievement and some, feeling of love and all of that. And then that might lead to better things in their life. And it could actually make a huge difference. She goes, "Wow, did you see the website?" I said, "No, I've never heard of it." But she goes, "Well, that's what we do." I said, "Well, I'm in."
Yeah.
So I've been in about a year, and she asked me to be president. And so I'm just real excited about helping the kids in the foster care system. And we're in Georgia now, and we are excited about the opportunity to start virtual lessons. And what that means is that we can provide lessons for people outside of Georgia or outside of our geographic area very easily. And we've had a lot of interest from musicians, again, from our email, California, Arizona. "Hey, how can I teach voice, I teach guitar, I teach keyboards. How can I get involved?" So we're contacting them and saying, "Well, when we're ready, we'll talk to you." And then everybody can just log in from where they are, the students from where they are, the teachers from where they are. And we're working with a virtual world called the Spark. Will Carter out of Nashville started that, and it gamifies the virtual world.
You know, when I saw your email, I was hooked too, just hearing about just a little one-liner about what the T-shirts are for. As people watch my show, they know I'm a nurse for 29 years. I'm a psychiatric nurse, and I've worked in psych hospitals, and I've seen the end results of these kids without a home, without established values that's up, and they really have a rough time. And I know music, because music is my therapy, is what they said in the book, or on the T-shirt. Music can just draw people in and bring out emotions and feelings and thoughts that nothing else can.
Right. creativity, an outlet for creativity, the ability to express themselves emotionally. They listen to music and they connect with it, and then they start thinking about it. And then, we come along and say, hey, if you want to make music, we'll help you. And they're like, wow, that would be really cool. And we've had some kids that have really, we've just, it's like putting water on the seed and boom, this kid's been playing for 3 months and he's the best keyboardist I've heard in years. It's like, wow, we've got one here.
And with this day and age, they, with the right people behind them, they can mix and record and do things that 20, 30 years ago you had to do in a studio, and now you could do it with a friend that has the app and do it. It's wonderful.
Yeah, and we actually have some studios in the Atlanta area that have volunteered to take the kids on tours and just show them how and what's all about, so that if it plants a seed, like you can actually do this and you can do it at home, and then maybe, later on you can come in and record in a studio.
One of the things that thrilled me about this, and I live in Virginia Beach, but people watch this show all over, is if we could duplicate and replicate what you're doing in Atlanta and other markets, it would be, this is, a worthy cause and a way to, I'm sure foster kids in Cincinnati need this as well as they do in LA and
Everywhere.
Phoenix.
Everywhere, absolutely. It was just April lives here, and she was working with kids, and she just saw the need, and she's a musician, so she kind of put it together and came up with a formula. We are a 501(c) registered charity, so we have the ability to um, get a charter in any state. We want to do it very carefully and methodically, but if are there people out there that say, we're doing something similar and we don't have our tax status yet, and we'd like to be able to accept, because it's really important to be able to accept donations and that people can um, get a tax deduction for it. But it also, it's a credibility issue if you haven't gone through that step. So we have that. And now, we're open for certain grants and things from the government for, there's all kinds, NAM, National Association of Merchants of Music. They have a foundation that gives money to organizations like ours that help kids, because the kids are the future of music.
Good. Um, David, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the website down on the comment section so that people can get connected to AMP Kids. I'm going to also put your website for those who are interested to know a little bit more what you do as far as open mics. David creates and helps facilitate open mics all across the nation in a huge way for music and in restaurants, bars, places where live music can be, and he helps the owners and the musicians get connected to do this, and so that so there's gets a platform for them to sing their music, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. That's our live events, or that we call them micro music festivals.
Mm-hmm.
And then the people that operate their own open mics can actually list it with us. So we have the world's largest online directory of live music open mics, and we've broken it down and said we have a openmic.us is our catch-all. But then what we do is you can look up what market you want to go to. So for New York, we have openmicnewyork.com, we have openmicvirginia.com, openmicLA, so on and so forth. So yeah, we'd love to have any musicians out there that are interested in open mics. Maybe there's some hosts that want to get some more promotion. They can list their events on our sites for free.
Great. It's all about networking, isn't it? Getting networking to get your talents and your gifts out there. When I did stand-up comedy, I also did music where I did parody songs and played my guitar and sung. And so I went to some music open mics as well as the comedy open mics, and it was a blast, and meet so many great people and just hear such great music, variety of music. And it's just a great way to meet folks.
It really is. And people that haven't tried open mics, if it's something you've thought about and kind of put it aside, I encourage you to do it, number one, and try more than one. Every open mic is kind of a reflection of the host. So if you've got a host that's kind of a dip, It's probably not going to be the best. I've gone to a few, and I walked out going, I can't believe I just sat there for 3 hours and didn't hear a decent song.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've hosted an open mic every Wednesday for 16 years at the same place, and every single week we have an aha moment where
Yeah.
the crowd stops and goes, ah, and then somebody's doing something amazing. And it's so we have people that aren't very good, but we have people that are on The Voice. I probably have 8 people that have been on national TV. They
Yeah.
started the first place they ever played was my open mic.
I actually got my first paying gig at an open mic. It was in Nashville, Tennessee. I was doing a open mic in a little coffee shop, Coco Cafe or Cafe Coco, I think it was. And it was a real weird audience. And I did my comedy routine, and I sat down with my wife afterwards. This lady who was wandering in and out of the open mic walked up to me and talked to me real strange. She heard that I was a nurse, and she handed me a quarter, and that was and walked away. And I took the quarter and told my wife, "This is my first paying gig." So you have to start somewhere.
It's going to take a lot of quarters, but yeah. Journey of 1,000 miles, first step, first quarter, same thing.
The same thing. She
Of
was
course, you
either
can't buy a cup of coffee with it.
yeah, she
That's
was either
450.
off her meds or taking some strange meds during that night. So it was a really interesting audience that night. All right, well, David, thank you so much for taking the time out of your schedule to promote this worthy cause, and hopefully get some T-shirts sold and get some contacts. And thank you for what you do for the kids.
Absolutely, and I appreciate your time. And what we said, music is my therapy. That's what we have on our shirts, and the ampkids.org is our website, and you'll be able to find it there. Take care.
Okay. And thank you all for joining me for another Morning Moments.